Welcome to the Board Game Network. This is James, and I'm going to be explaining the rules to Ticket to Ride, put out by Alan Moon and Days of Wonder. I'm assuming that you've played this game before. Maybe. I mean, if you haven't heard of it, I'm assuming maybe you haven't played Monopoly either, or checkers for that matter. Surely you've heard of this game. It plays 2 to 5 players, 8 years and up, and it plays in around an hour. You have these trains, and everybody's going to get their own color of trains, so you grab those and you have this marker and you put it on the 0 space here on the board. Now this game has, I'm just talking about the basic game. This is the first game that came out. There are a ton of variant games, other versions of the game. And I'm just going to be giving you the rules for the basic game. All of those other ones have little different changes to the rules. They all play similar, but not identical. So what you do is you deal out 4 train cards, which are these, and they have different colors on them. So you shuffle those up, you deal 4 to each player. However many players there are. And then those just go in your hand and you don't show people what you have. And those correspond to the colors out here on the map board and help you fill in trains. You also are going to put 5 face up on the table, and those are going to stay out there. You have choices of drawing from those, and when you draw from them you're going to restock them from the deck. You are also going to be dealt these destination tickets. These destination tickets have a point scored for how much points it is when you complete that route between 2 different cities at the end of the game. That scoring happens at the end, but they have points for different cities there, and so everybody, that's going to be shuffled, and you're going to deal 3 of those to each player, and they are going to look at those, and they are required to keep 2 of them, so they can discard 1. And what you're looking for when you keep these is if you have overlapping ones or ones that are close to each other, those would be the ones you probably want to keep. Or if you have a big long one that's a lot of points, and then maybe, and if you have an overlapping one there, keep that for sure. If you have 2 little small ones and 1 long one, you're kind of in a quandary on which to keep. But anyway, you're going to have to keep 2. You can get rid of 1 or keep all 3 if you want to. Your goal is to score the most points at the end of the game. And so what you do on your turn is you draw train cards, these cards here that you have in your hand. So the way you draw those is you can draw from the face-up ones. If you like the colors that are out there, you say, oh, I'm going to take a blue. You draw them 1 at a time. You don't take 2 all of a sudden. You take 1 at a time and it gets refilled. And then you get to draw again. And I'll take this one, and then it gets refilled. So that would be my turn, and then it would go on to the next person's turn. So that's drawing train cards. Now there are also what's called locomotives. They're multicolored on here. They have more than 1 color. And if there's ever one of those in play out here, and I draw that one, that's the only card I get, because that's a wild card. That counts as any color I want to use it as. So I don't get 2 cards, I only get 1 if I draw that. And there's no drawing a different color and then drawing that one. Can't do it. You have to draw that one only if you're drawing from here. Now, the other choice, if you don't like these colors out here, is to draw from the deck. And so you can draw from the deck, and in combination with these, if you get a wild from here, then you still get 2 cards instead of the 1 card. So you can draw 2 off the top, or you can draw 1 from here, 1 from here, or 1 from here, you know. any order you want to draw from. The only limitation is if you take a locomotive from the face-up cards, is that's the only cards you get. You have no limitation on how many cards you have in your hand. So that's drawing train cards. The other choice that you have on your turn would be claiming a route, and you claim a route by playing. You look in your hand and you go, well, let's see, I want to build trains from Kansas City to St. Louis. That's got blue or it's got pink. I've got some blue cards in my hand. I have to have one card for every space, and you have to do the whole thing all at once. There's no building halfway to a city and then coming back later. You have to go all the way from one city to another city in the same turn. And so that would be playing 2 blue cards to claim that. The third choice is to draw destination tickets. So you got 3 at the beginning, and of course you want to be building towards the cities that are on your destination tickets to try to get those connected, because you need to have them connected by the end of the game. So you could draw 3 more tickets, and you're required to keep at least one of those. So you look at those and dig through them and say, well, you know, how well does that match my other tickets, or do I think I can do it? And you really have to pay attention to how many trains you have left. Sometimes you might get a ticket that looks good, a lot of points, but then you don't have enough trains to complete it, so you don't want those. So those are your 3 choices. You can draw train cards, you can put trains out, or you can draw destination tickets. And you can only do one of those 3 on your turn, and it goes to the next player. If while you are drawing tickets, if you ever get to where you have 3 locomotives in play out here, then these all get discarded and you would be dealt 5 new cards out here. And once this deck runs out, you just reshuffle what's in the discard and make you a new deck. Now you have to match, when you're playing your cards out of your hand, you have to match the color out here with the tickets you're using. You do also see there are gray ones. Well, there are no gray tickets. Gray just means any color, but they have to be the same color. So if I was going to use red to go from Kansas City to Oklahoma City, I would have to use 2 red. Couldn't use a red and a blue. I have to use 2 of the same color. Or a locomotive in something. Locomotive always counts as any color you want it to be. Now in a 2 or 3 player game, you should actually shut down the double lines on here. A double line is either, you can have 2 trains running parallel, so if I get the black, you can turn around and get the orange and have 2 people connect. But in a 2 and 3 player game, you only get one of those 2, so whoever gets there first, the other one gets closed down and doesn't get used for 2 and 3 player game. At the end of the game, happens when one player gets down to 2 or fewer trains left out here to play. If he gets down to 2, 1, or 0 on his turn, there's one more round around the table, and it ends with the player who got down to the 2, 1, or 0. So he gets one more turn. Everybody gets one turn, and then the game's over. So you better get whatever you need to get down on that turn, and you need to watch how many trains everybody has. When they start getting low, you definitely don't want to be taking destination tickets, or you want to be getting your routes completed if you can. So once that happens, once everybody's done, you count the trains in a what's called the longest route, or the longest path, and it's only one contiguous path. So if it splits off, you only can take one path. Whoever has that longest route for the train, he gets this card, which gives him a 10-point bonus on his scoring. So during the game, when you're playing these down, you actually get points while you play each route down. And this points is right here. If it's a single train, it's 1 point. 2 trains is 2, 3 is 4 points, 4 is 7, 5 is 10, and 6 is 15. So as soon as I play that down, I move my marker up 2. So you're going to continuously throughout the game everybody's going to be moving. Once they claim a route out here between 2 cities, they're going to be moving their pieces. At the end of the game, you do end of the game scoring, and the way you do that is you look at your destination tickets, and everybody on their at the end, you compare what they've built to see if they have connected the 2 cities that it says on the destination ticket. And if they have, no matter how convoluted the path is, doesn't matter, as long as it's connected somehow with your color train, you get the points for it. So then you would continue to move your scoring marker based on the destination ticket, how many points you get. And if you do not complete the route, you actually go backwards that many points. So you definitely want to complete your routes if you can. And go through each of the tickets that you kept and score, and then every player does that. And make sure your longest route gets scored on there for 10 points. And then you just simply look to see who has the most points at the end of the game. That is Ticket to Ride. And if you like this one, then go out and find other Ticket to Ride versions. Some of them are much more cutthroat than this one. This one is a pretty good family game. There are ones out there for hardcore gamers that it's a very much of a challenge to get into certain cities, and so you can get cut off and not be able to complete your routes. But I would very much suggest this basic game for families to play, or if you've got younger players, this one or the Ticket to Ride Europe is a very good one for families also, because they have train stations in there, and that allows you to get in even though you haven't got a route into that city. But once again, this is Ticket to Ride, and I'm James Deckert with the Board Game Network.